Hello, friend. Welcome to day 5 of our 20-day challenge together. I'm your host, Alicia Carrasco. I'm an entrepreneur, author, wife, and mom of 2. And I'm so honored that you're here sharing with me this day 5 of our 20-day challenge. If this is the very first episode that you are listening to and you're wondering what the 20-day challenge is, let me explain you very quickly in hopes that you also want to join in. For the first 20 days of this podcast, I propose to be your guide on your journey of self-transformation by committing 20 days to listen to the corresponding episode where we are going to dive deep into the keys and techniques to explore your inner self. And then you commit to do 3 to 5 minutes of journaling reflection after listening to each episode. If you'd like to take me up on this challenge, go ahead and keep listening to this episode today. Or if you want to start from the very beginning, just go back to episode day 1. So today, I want to talk about how to attract what you really want in your life. And the key concept here to do so is you need to be in alignment with your inner self, and you also need to have a clear vision of your goal. You see, the vast majority of people spend their lives out of alignment with their inner self, where their deepest wishes and aspirations really live, and the daily life that they are actually living. And this imbalance may display itself strongly sometimes in the form of illness or maybe anxiety or even depression, just to name a few. Or it may simply manifest in a subtle form in your day to day life in the shape of maybe recurrent dreams or recurrent thoughts, as if it were that kind of irritating companion whispering you all the time that you are ignoring something and making it obvious to you that there is a more important agenda that you are not attending to, and you're not taking action in that direction, keeping you in that continuous imbalance in your life. So I would like to quote here Gandhi. He once said that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in total harmony. Or, in other words, when one returns to their natural balance by being true to oneself in every act and every thought. And this is precisely when you really begin to listen to that whisper that you hear every now and then and pay attention to that sensation of longing. When you really begin to regain that state of natural internal balance that really produces that feeling of constant and undeniable happiness within you, that constant joy. When you reach this point of internal discovery, you understand that living only makes sense if you are undeniably you. More and more social rules and expectations disappear about what you should be or do or how you should behave or not. And with this inner strength, you advance in the world from a higher vibrational energy, which without you realizing affects everything and everyone that is around you, because you have begun to live your life in alignment and balance with your soul, with your deepest inner self. But the question that you may have here is, what does it really mean to start living with a higher vibrational energy? And how does this affect everything and everyone around you? How does this really work? So let me explain you. We all know, right, of people that have a special light or even transmit that kind of peace and happiness when you are around them, and also all the opposite. And quite often we use the term good vibrations or bad vibrations to refer to that feeling that this person gives us, or even certain situations as well, right? So this is not a coincidence. We use these terms because in reality, what we are referring to is precisely that each one of us is energy living in a constant and infinite energy field where everything is interconnected. So let's back up a little bit. And to explain this and to understand this a little bit better, we need to talk about the quantum field. Quantum physics appeared in 1925, a physics that came to explain certain principles of Newton's traditional physics that had been the norm when explaining the universe until that very same moment. This new physics, quantum physics, said that there was an invisible energy field that it really forms and surrounds everything, something that the Newton's physics hadn't taken into account at all. And this new physics meant the beginning of a new way of conceiving the universe and ourselves as well as interconnected elements in this network of invisible energy. So, to understand it in a more specific manner, if you were to look deeply in your hand, you would find cells, right? And within those cells, you would find your DNA at the center of each one of them. Within the DNA, what you would find it's atoms. And within those atoms, if you were to look really, 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 really close, you would find that there is nothing. Only protons, neutrons, and electrons, and 99.99999% of empty space. So let's make it something that we can relate to. If the proton were the size of an apple, the electron would be the size of a grain of salt, and it would be 2 kilometers away from the proton. So, in other words, all the space in the atom would be completely empty. And the protons, neutrons, and electrons are particles that essentially emerge from what is called the quantum field. And deep down, these particles, they are only energy waves. So literally, what they are is energy vibration. So in other words, something that is apparently solid and permanent is in reality something that it's constantly changing and moving and almost empty. Wow. This conception of reality tells us that absolutely everything that surrounds us, ourselves included, we are all energy. That's what it's saying, the quantum physics. So we are an apparently solid mass with volume just because of the grouping of the atoms. But inside, in the deepest of our beings, what we are is just energy vibrating in this energy field. It's energy vibrations. That's who we really are deep down. So let's make this a little bit more closer to us. The truth is that it is not necessary at all to perfectly understand the concept of quantum physics to just be able to work with it. Just a simple fact of being open to the idea that you are energy existing within a universe of energy, just knowing that allows you to begin to understand the implications that it has for really unlocking the infinite potential that you have inside you. So, how does all of this work? This is the theory that's awesome. Okay. But how does this work in your day to day, right? That's maybe the question that you have in your mind right now. So within this energy universe, the way it works is the frequencies that are of the same type attract frequencies on that very same level. So what this means is that whatever the energy that emanates from your being, that's the energy that you will attract towards you. If you begin to think negative thoughts and focus on problems, then this is what you will receive back in your life. Whereas the opposite will happen if you concentrate on positive thoughts and abundance, for example. So the universe functions under this law of attraction. You may have heard of it before, in which similar frequencies are constantly attracted to one another. So, as an energetic being that you are, the invisible energy of your mind, those are your thoughts, are the key elements in your relationship with the surroundings, because it is your mind with its incessant thoughts that is constantly interpreting the environment. So your thoughts, as we saw at the beginning of this challenge, your thoughts, they don't really control your reality, but they define how you see it through those tinted glasses that we were talking about in episode 2, if you remember. Because as James Allen wrote in his classic book, A Man Thinketh, men do not attract that which they want, but which they are. He was completely referring here to that law of attraction. You attract what you are inside, not what you want. And the energy field doesn't understand about your wants or your needs. It just understands, what are you? Are you a high vibrational energy or are you a low vibrational energy? That's the only thing that understands. So, like the energy that we are, when we send negative thoughts into the universe without realizing, we are creating blockages in the infinite energy field surrounding us. We are sending at that moment low vibrational frequency outwards, which will attract these very same low frequencies into your life. Here are some examples of things that can cause these low vibrations to perpetuate. For example, constantly complaining about things, feeling hate, feeling guilt, feeling rage, maintaining toxic relationships, for example, with, friends or partners that they are not helping you in being your best version, constantly talking about problems or maybe situations from the past, recreating negative situations from the past, feeling jealousy. The list goes on, right? But you get the point. There are people who spend all their lives in these low vibrational frequencies, and all of us at some point or another in our lives have been there or are there right now. It's important to understand that it is also an essential part of ourselves that we sometimes the negative thoughts are okay. And in many occasions, they are necessary for us to be able to awaken and see our reality from a new perspective. So it is important to understand so that this is also part of yourself or of your mind. It is important to understand so as not to blame yourself or to always feel bad about yourself every time that you have a negative emotion or negative thoughts. Otherwise, if you feel bad because you are having a negative thought, what you're going to do is recreate that, like maintain this loop of negativity inside you. So the best thing to do when you are having a negative thought is just practice being the observer of what's going on in your head at that moment and what are you feeling there. As we said in episode 2, in day 2 of this challenge, when you find yourself trapped in those negative loops, this is mainly because you are acting on automatic pilot. So, in other words, you are allowing your subconscious mind to direct your days using certain patterns of action that you've acquired throughout your life. I'm going to share with you right now what is it that I do when I get caught myself on those negative loops, because it happens to me, even though I know the theory and everything. Life is life and life is complicated, life is messy. And sometimes you don't know how, but the subconscious mind comes here and boom, all of a sudden you are trapped in those negative loops. So, and that happens to all of us. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect at all. So, what I do when I find myself in this negativity is the following: I stop, then I breathe. I count till 10 with my eyes closed. And after that, I open my eyes and I consciously, I examine those negative thoughts and their cause. Why am I having those thoughts? And then I take active responsibility to change them. That's what I'm going to say right now. It is your duty. It is your responsibility to gain your natural internal balance and increase your vibrational frequency. Because by doing this, you are placing yourself in charge of your life. You're no longer acting like a victim of your thoughts or even your environment. You know, everything in life, it's going to change. Nothing lasts forever. You know that. We know that. You certainly cannot like forecast what is going to happen within an hour or maybe in 20 minutes or in 1 year. You don't really know, right? But one of the things that you can do in your life, and this is what I've learned over the years of in my journey of personal transformation, and I think this is very, very true. The only thing that you can control and that you are in charge of is the way you respond to your thoughts, your emotions, your environment, whatever, is the way you respond to everything that happens in your life. So this is actually your deepest responsibility. So when you are able to take control of your internal balance, living according to your deepest hopes and dreams, this is when you suddenly begin to discover these new options, new opportunities, and you begin to create with the universe, helping you and working with you on your path towards reaching all your objectives and sending what you want and believe into your life. But in order to have that, in order to attract what you really want in your life, you must gain that alignment inside, and you must take an active responsibility of aligning yourself with higher vibrational energies as often as possible. So, for today's challenge, I propose you a journaling exercise to reflect on your personal law of attraction. And it will require you to follow these 3 steps I'm going to say right now. The first one is start by visualizing something that you deeply, deeply, deeply desire or aspire to achieve in your life. And this could be a personal goal, a state of being, a relationship, or a material aspiration, whatever. It can be anything, right? Just deeply, deeply visualize that intensely, visualize it, and make it real in your mind. And then after that, describe it in a few lines in your journal. The second step is reflect on your current thoughts and emotions and actions that you are having or experiencing right now. And ask yourself this question: how aligned are those emotions, those thoughts, with this vision that you just had? What are the blockages or negative loops that might be holding you back, if any? So ask yourself this question. This is super important because you're going to understand where the blockages are happening right now. And the step number 3 is jot down a set of actionable steps to align more closely with your vision. This could involve releasing negative patterns, fostering positive habits in your life, or simply committing to do a daily affirmation that supports your vision. So I hope you enjoyed today's reflection and journaling. And if you like this episode, please, it would mean the world to me if you rate it, subscribe, or share it with a friend if you think this can be useful. Thank you for listening and see you in the next one.